All right, man. So it looked like we was having some technical difficulties, but we back now. So back to the get go. First topic that we got is about the Apple Wallet. I think I introduced that. I know you were introducing a little bit of it.
Yeah, I did all the articles, matter of
All
fact.
right, all right, all right, all right, all right. But yeah, the first topic that we got is about the Apple Wallet getting its verifiable COVID-19 vaccination cards, or getting verifiable the whole COVID-19 vaccination cards. Basically, they're making it so that the Google Wallet app or the Apple Wallet app. I think there's a Google Wallet app as well, but the Apple Wallet app already had the functionality to do like cards in general. They've been pushing this agenda for a while with the gift cards, wallets, regular debit cards, credit cards, stuff like that. You can put your passports in here. If you got like airplane trips coming, you can put all that stuff into the system, into this Google Wallet. But now, because it's been working so well for a number of years, they're also allowing for the COVID-19 vaccination cards to actually just become a part of the wallet as well. I'm gonna just get your 411 because I already said it a little bit when I was speaking about the title. What do you think about this?
I think so. What you started off on the right foot saying that they've been doing this whole card thing for some time. If you ask me, conspiracy guy, I feel like this been the case. They've been planning this. First off, this whole COVID stuff. Now I know it's risque what I'm gonna say, but this is how I look at it. A lot of this stuff has been schemed and plotted out. You feel what I'm saying? Now we got this whole thing of, we all know, and that's why I know we're starting off on this note. We usually gotta take some time to build up. Just we was gonna jump in, man. We're gonna jump in.
Yeah.
We know some sense of control. The powers that be have always been looking to implement that and kind of smooth it in without. And the reason why one would ask is like they can just do whatever since they know all the stuff. Well, they want to be able to establish, in my opinion, a sense of control that won't cause too much rioting or lead to anarchy. So by putting in all of this stuff and then having these diseases or viruses that come out every 4 years, we came from SARS, and then we went to the swine flu, and then it's like every time some president is elected, there's some virus that comes into play. Or you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
That's just what I've noticed. So when they're talking about this whole, we about to start establishing, and make it easy for you to have your vaccine cards and stuff like that. I'm like, it just moves us closer towards that that we call it that Big Brother effect that you hear in so many different older sci-fi futuristic type of movies. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not too thrown off. Like I'm not in shock by hearing this. And on one end, one would say this is a good thing, but because I'm not necessarily, especially at this point, pro COVID vaccine, because it hasn't been completely proven. It hasn't been proven to be 100% effective, and they're trying to push this thing. So I'm already kind of on the edge when it comes to that whole vaccine thing. Now we got this whole you're gonna have it where you can get your vaccine card and stuff. I'm just I'm not surprised, but I ain't liking it either.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm right there with you with the whole Big Brother concept, because I mean, it's already been foretold. All the stuff has been told before. 1984, George Orwell, all these, storytellers have already talked about the idea of, Big Brother coming down, all these government entities that are cross corporate entities, controlling society to the point of where, it's almost systematic, almost like computer-like.
Because you think about it. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I want to say, well, you think about how, like, when it comes to the corporate, so we have this idea in mind that we have different governments, and they sit at this like table where all like the United Nations sit down and try to have some type of regulation as far as what laws apply to this place and the other place. But with corporations, in a sense, because their reach, especially with the internet, is beyond the government walls, they already have a sense of deregulated control over the people. So Google over here can move and shake a certain way. Of course, they got the whole cryptocurrency thing. They're starting to push out checking accounts, I believe, within, if not the end of this year, but next year they have that going.
Mhm.
Cryptocurrency is already, it's not regulated per se. I mean, you have certain government entities who are trying to push regulation on cryptocurrencies. I mean, they're trying to even make you get paid taxes on it now, but it's still heavily, deregulated. And then you have, just in a sense, Google, because the internet, they're able to be in different places, and because they're able to be in different countries, different continents, and they're able to push their quote unquote terms of usage. People, when it comes to having access to certain things, especially with Google, finding a way to carefully make you dependent upon. And I'm just using Google for example, but I know we're talking about Apple here. It can be any of these corporations, but they carefully using different methods to make you more dependent upon the services they provide. They in turn become, if you, in a sense, like the entity that controls the quote unquote government. So
Yeah.
I mean, I say I ain't too. I'm not shaken by this because, like you said, this stuff is privacy. I mean, they've been talking about this since the 1960s and 70s and all that. When they, the hippie conspiracy theorists, was talking about what was going down, and of course, because they was smoking weed heavy, they tried to write it off like, oh well, these guys are just, they only psychedelics. They ain't really thinking correctly or
Right.
using common sense. But now when you see these things coming into fruition, so it's just more so, you got to just get yourself prepared. And again, the speaks to the article, I don't think I didn't digress enough. I'm not really too, I'm not going to be having a vaccine card just because I don't really care to. Like I said, my opinions on the vaccine itself is I need a little bit more testing, a little bit more proof, even as far as the COVID, Covidicus, if
Yeah.
it's as if it's really as dangerous as it is. If you think just about the statistics, COVID has been quote unquote running rampant for some time, but I don't really hear too many talks about the flu or pneumonia, asthma attacks, heart disease, and anything like that. So, everybody's supposedly supposed to be dying from COVID, but they still, I know my folks, they still eating fried chicken, they still eating unhealthy. And
Yeah. There's a
typical
lot of
things
people
they
that's
would not,
ain't
yeah.
nothing changed basically.
Yeah.
A lot of people ain't nothing changed. It's just been, less work or more work for other people. I mean, like when it comes to the actual health concerns, that's not really the big issue. I mean, it's really an economic issue for a lot of people. This pandemic is an economic disaster for most people, more than it is actual, like, biological warfare or whatever. But yeah, man, yeah, it's the way it is. Like, we already knew the idea that Big Brother was going to come around. It was kind of like those, we didn't have the technology that we have today, but the ideas was already there. We already knew that, we're nothing but a number to the system. We're all a number. They're watching us, and we didn't have the technology to really make those predictions come to fruition back in like the 80s and the 70s and whatnot. It sounded crazy to people because the technology didn't exist, but now it exists and it's happening, and we all got phones in our pocket, which was a phenomenon that we didn't believe. That was a pandemic more than anything. Like the technology that we use on an average basis is daunting.
We heavily dependent upon it, man. Like I know for a fact I don't know any phone. Only phone numbers I really know by my heart is my girl and my mother.
Yeah,
other than that,
it's the same numbers that I know prior to like 2010. Yeah, I mean, it's the same numbers I know. I mean, any new number since 2010. If I ain't just put you in the contact and the name, I don't know your number for it. I mean, and that's just how it is. Like, I mean, there's really no point with all these, like, voice chat services, these video chat services. It don't really make a point to actually get somebody's phone number unless you really need to get in contact with them. And in most cases, that's how people feel about their phone number in the first place. It's like, I'm not going to give you my phone number unless I feel like you're valuable enough to get that number. Even with, guys that's out here trying to holler at girls, be like, "Yo, can I get your number?" You be like, "No, I can get you. I'll give you my IG."
You got my IG. Yeah, there you go. You got
like,
Facebook.
Yeah, because the phone number has become more personal now. It's become as personal as the social security number, and that's another thing that gets to me is like, with the idea of these wallets, it's sort of replacing the idea of social security numbers, because social security numbers is like 9 digits or whatever. It's a fallible system. People can take them cards and take those numbers and do whatever they want. People been stealing ID identification, person's identity for years, and that's all already been broken down. So what's going to end up coming with things like them putting verification cards on there is, next thing you know, your social security system is an ID. You're going to be at birth with some type of identification number that's like a 300-digit number that's like encrypted and verifiable to some digital database somewhere to make sure that that's you. It's probably tied to your DNA strand or some shit. Like, it's going to get to that point because it's kismet. It's meant to go that way. So like, prepare, because really it's no other way. Like, if you don't have technology, you basically in the 70s, and if you got technology, you either roll with it or be aware enough to fight against it. I mean, and that's kind of the hard part for most of society, is that being aware is kind of beyond most people, because they just trying to be humans, man. They just trying to live.
Yeah. That's what it is. We're stuck in it. It's a combination of, we become so dependent upon the technology, as well as the beast of capitalism, that when you're on the upside, it benefits you, and when you're getting stepped on, of course, when you're on the bottom side, it's a fight for survival. So and most people are not up. Only 9% of America makes over 100K, and even 100K nowadays is not enough to sustain, especially if you got a family. You feel what I'm saying? So most people out here getting hit with the financial stuff. I mean, that's why we had the whole issue, as I digress, where people, me and my girl went out with the kids, and you try to get service at a Ruby Tuesdays, and that joint was terrible because it was only like 3-4 people working in the whole store. They can't get nobody to come to work because they didn't dependent upon, the society has become dependent upon not only technology, but then the government assistance. You have folks, for the past, year and a half, 2 years, getting paid, unemployment plus some, to sit, for sitting home doing nothing than what they get paid going to work for somebody. So it's that's just how it is. I mean, I feel like even that, in a sense, was a move to get people to, not really. We already in a stage where most of us don't have the skills to be able to go out and survive in the wild. Like, none of us really know how to. I don't know how to plant stuff and then grow my own food and all that to keep it honey. I don't understand. I don't know how to build a a home and all that stuff. And we kind of laugh at that stuff. You know what I mean? Dudes,
right.
old head Bob the Builder dudes, and know how to. They hands look like they smack on bricks for a living. They build houses. But at the same time, if everything goes to shit, you need these skills. So most folks, they're not really doing anything to gather more skills to survive, and they still becoming heavily dependent upon technology. That's just a recipe for control.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to a lot of these jobs, it's job security. So like, any job that would have potentially tossed you out real quick because of something like COVID, it's going to be a hard time to get them back. At the end of COVID. Yeah, I mean, like when COVID started, they was like, yo, sorry, yo, you out. I mean, like, I ain't got no choice. We didn't know what the deal was with COVID. We didn't know what all the situations was, how you get it. They just shut stuff down and told you ain't gonna make no money. So they just ran from those type of jobs. They just like, yo, if you're gonna kick me out off of this, then I ain't gonna come back. Yeah, I mean, so like, a lot of people did find like ways to transition to some other type of discipline, some type of other industry to get them going. And then, when things like Ruby Tuesdays open back up, they like, yo, I need a waiter. And he like, I'm sorry, man, I'm a web developer now. I work from home. I mean, and like, it's hard to get them back. But that's the system. There'll be a whole new generation coming in. These kids that's coming in, they may want to come in and start, with a little job. Some people that need things like that. But like, the older ones that are, seniors that are like, in their 50s, 60s, whatever, and they do like, still manual labor work, they gonna be hard pressed to try to find a real position that's gonna fit them. But yeah, we kind of getting off topic with the verification, but the whole thing is because of that. Like, this technology is kind of changing society in a massive way. I mean, you can blame the pandemic, but with technology being accessible as it is, it's changing how we choose to do what we want to do nowadays. Like you said, I mean, things like government assistance is definitely, playing a part of people's decisions of what they're doing. But people just changing up all around. Some people think it's in the Armageddon for real. So it's out here on their Mad Max shit. I mean,
Yeah.
they taking people like
ready.
their money and
We
all.
already kind of seen that a little bit when they first started. People was getting trampled for toilet paper. So you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Just imagine when that joint really hit though. That's gonna be crazy.
Exactly.